Fran's replaced all of her certificates with medals and badges tonight.
I did, yeah. I wanted to be in a different mode. This is my military room.
I don't know what. I better find some.
I sat in the room that has the dehumidifier.
Oh, okay. All right. We ready to go, Mike?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. Okay, welcome everyone. Call the meeting to order. We have a few things on our agenda tonight, and then we will be going back into our fun code update review. So first of all, we have on the agenda, let me move this off of here. And also make it a little smaller. Okay. So we have discussion on winter parking permits. These were the parking permits we gave out to residents for the Muni lot on Fair Street from November to, I think it was November till April or whatever. They were 40 some bucks. And it just enabled you to park there during the winter. So like to order decals for that if everybody thinks it's worthwhile. That's why it's up for discussion.
Yeah, I think we were just talking to Michael who got one, and he said it was definitely worthwhile. Jeff said we sold about 10 to 15 of them last year.
Yeah.
So I'm good. I'm good for it.
Okay.
Me too.
The decals would have to say 2020-2021.
Yes.
So that they're
So I was going to put like 1955, 60 somewhere in there. Just to
that would be good. Yeah.
they can guess. So I was going to order a couple of years, different colors, and they're like 50 bucks for 25. And I'll just order a different color for each year and put the dates on it, the year.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
Discussion on the Halloween. I guess this is more surrounding the usual celebration on Parsonage and Parrot. I know you guys kind of did like a bit of a poll, unofficially. And it sounds like some people may not be doing anything or maybe not decorating as much. I'm not sure what else we can do. One thing we just need to take into consideration, I talked to Larry and he does not have enough police to put on duty that night as usual. So I don't think we can close the streets off. I don't think we should. So I'll open the discussion with that. Thoughts?
Can he get one person there?
He might be able to. Yeah, I'm not sure how many he has on usually. It's definitely more than one. Or
Yeah,
more.
he has one on the at Pine Street and one at Bank Street for Parrot Street. If he can't get people, maybe a sawhorse would be helpful.
I think we should just leave Paris Street like every other street for Halloween and put a notice in the paper that the street will not be closed and that the street will not be hosting the mobs of people, because we need to get the word out to outside of the village where people come from.
Yeah.
So if we just leave it as a regular trick or treat night for whoever wants to go around. I don't know if there are any. I don't know enough about any of the houses there to know if there anybody who still thinks they're going to really decorate their homes.
I can speak to that a little bit.
The answer is
Our
yes.
neighbor, Rob Leiter, who does the huge display at the end of Parrot Street on Bank Street, he's not giving it up. Though he has promised me that he will try to rig up some sort of mad scientist thing to deliver candy to kids in a safer way. Other than that, I don't know. He's still going to do an elaborate display, and it always seems like it's his display that seems to be the big draw. So I do know of quite a few people on Parrot Street who are just going to leave their houses dark. I mean, they really do respect the seriousness of coronavirus and how it's not under control yet. And especially the way things are spiking in the lower Hudson Valley, I think it's something we should, everybody I talk to in my neighborhood, I just say, look, let's spread it out and shorten it and just try to curtail it as much as we can. And most people agree.
There are some people who are planning to decorate
Oh, yeah.
and hand out candy.
Yeah.
The problem, Fran, with noticing, with putting out a notice, is that we cannot say that there will be no houses accepting children as guests. And the people that you want to reach are not people in the village. They're people from Dutchess County, people from Westchester County, people from New York City, who come up and expect to do Parrott Street. It's sort of a tradition for those people.
I mean,
So
I'm not thinking I'm not thinking of saying there will be no houses. I'm thinking of putting out the notice that the street will not be closed. And if and if we get it in the paper and we get it on, our website, Phillips Town Locals, and any other social media that we can get it out to, that the street will not be closed for the usual onslaught. So if you come, you have to stay on the sidewalks, you have to stay, the way you would normally trick or treat.
My concern is that I suspect there will still be a significant number of people, children and adults, that will be walking the street. And not to close the street seems to me to be the wrong thing to do. It endangers the people that are doing the trick-or-treating. But a sawhorse at the top and the bottom of the street would go a long way to ensuring the safety of the trick-or-treaters. And I'm talking from Pine Street to Bank Street. And I would just do Parrott Street.
I mean,
I think we can't stop people from coming, or maybe we could. I think it would take something to do that. And I don't think people would be happy with that. I think to Fran's, I think we should put in the papers and start next week that we are discouraging people, and that many people have responded that they will not be trick-or-treating, or they will leave candy out, and discourage people as much as we can and ask people not to come for whatever that's worth. It's not going to stop it, but at least it may, dissuade some people from coming. And then I think we should also write and maybe do door hangers for the two streets and just ask them to please, we understand how this is another thing we're losing for the year, but can you please consider, not decorating or not giving out candies is somehow tone it down. I don't know, but
do we know?
Scrooge.
Wrong holiday.
Not a Scrooge.
Do we know if the chamber has decided on what they're doing? Because if we're noticing that, we might at the same time say, but instead, you can go on Main Street to the businesses. But I don't know where the chamber's going with that, if they are.
I don't know if I talked to Tara Flagler, and I don't know if she was representing the chamber, although she mentioned the chamber and about having people do safe, candy displays or leaving them out prepackaged. But I told her to write a proposal or tell us what they want to do so that we can give an okay. But it was with music, and it was, they wanted to put some music out, and I don't know, that's kind of an attraction also. If we're saying not to go somewhere and then saying, okay, you can go here.
Well, I hear year after year that people in other neighborhoods other than the Parrott Street neighborhood here complain that the trick-or-treating and festivities is concentrated here.
Right.
So I think this is a great opportunity to just tell everybody, look, let's scale it back and spread it out, just like we need to do for everything, just scale it back and spread it out. And encourage people on Parrott Street to just scale it back, but also people, if you want to do this, if this is necessary for your kids, just spread it out and don't concentrate in crowds. We have to avoid the crowds. So I think, every single Facebook page we can reach, I think both papers, I think that we should do whatever we can to spread that word.
I agree. I'll talk to Larry and see how many people he can have on and what he thinks of sawhorses. And, I agree. We don't want to put people in danger. And if they're going to come, we definitely don't, It'll be like Main Street on the weekends though, and nobody's gotten killed there yet. But no, it's a little bit. It'll be different, and there are kids. So I personally would hope people would, not go out, but I know that's not going to happen. So is everyone okay if we try to, put a blast out discouraging? I don't know what the wording will be. I'll try to write something up and send it to you. Just saying, please take in this consideration, where we are, going into the fall. There are spikes, as Lynn said, and, if you're really worried and care about your kids, maybe select houses or talk to neighbors that you can bring them to so they, can experience it, but maybe it won't be, it won't be Parrot Street, but I don't know. It's 1 year.
I think we should put something out, so, whatever. At least to try to get the word out for as much as we can. And for those, if people are still coming from, they probably are coming from the city and think everything's fine up here, so they'll come anyway. Do they come during the day or do they usually come when it's dark?
Dark.
Oh, it starts at like 2 in the afternoon.
But the real crush is 4 to 5, and then it goes until 9.
Yeah.
Does it really? Yeah. I
Yeah.
was thinking,
Well, especially since it's on a Saturday too.
I was thinking the Main Street thing going till 9 o'clock would be late. Although I'm still not sure any of the businesses are going to stay open till 9, but I can see them doing it from like 5 to 7 or something.
Just to give you an idea, Parrot Street people normally hand out per household 1,000 pieces of candy.
Yeah, no, I know they spend tons of money over there.
Yep.
They really do, yeah.
So that's the kind of crowds that they get on Parrot Street, and you
Thanks for telling me, Marie.
You didn't know that?
I spend $100 to $150 on candy every year.
Yeah, I go to my
And I
friend's
don't
house.
even live on Parrot Street, but just a door or two off. So
I go to my friend's house, and there are 3 of us handing out candy all at the same time. The
Yeah.
kids line up to get to the front porch. It's really a mob scene, and a fair number of adults.
I mean, it's up to people too to determine how far into your property you want to let other people. If you want to keep people off of your porch, you're going to have to stand at your fence or whatever, or at the edge of your property. Keep people off, but that's for individual people to determine.
Well, let's try to get the word out, try to dissuade as many as and see what happens, and then deal with it. I got to talk to Larry though about, support. I don't know how many people he can.
Yeah, it's just to keep the cars from driving down Parrot Street from Pine to Bank the other direction. That's all.
All right.
If you get something, send it. We'll put it on Facebook too.
Okay. Just like discouraging, recommending, hoping, praying, begging, whatever. 1 year. I'm sure you can find, people connect with other people. They could go to their houses with their kids and feel safe about it and have the experience. I don't know. If people are just going to come, though, they're going to come. So I agree. We definitely don't want a dangerous street.
I always wondered how people even learn about it. I mean, I have a friend that lives there, so we go there after no one shows up at our house. We go there with all our candy and we give it away. They give away, like you said, thousands of pieces of candy. And then people just keep coming. And I'm like, where are all these people coming from? And how do they even know about Cold Spring? Or like, it's just amazing to me. If we could find out how they found out, then we could get the word out that way. But I guess it's Facebook or,
I think the village was written up a couple of times in New York City newspapers, and so that was one of the original ways.
what's amazing is to see the vans pull up and park in front of my house, and then the van doors open, and it's like a clown car of kids, just like spilling out of every door, So, and I know those are not from Cold Spring. Those folks are not from Cold Spring, so.
Yeah, you recognize very few people when you're sitting there.
Yeah, there are a lot of kids and people I've never seen before that show up.
Okay, we'll do our best on that one. What's the next one? What's on the agenda next? Sorry.
Bench plaque for Bruce.
Oh, I don't have the,
I
couldn't
don't have
find it.
that.
All right. Anyway, so I guess the Lions Club, well, there's two organizations that have offered to do benches for Bruce Campbell in honor of Bruce, the Lions Club and also the Cold Spring PBA. The PBA wants to put one in front of the village office, a plaque on one of those benches. And I believe the Lions Club wants to do one at the riverfront, if there's a bench there. So I just, I was talking to John Morani had stopped me, and I told him I didn't see any problem with that. I just have to run it by the board. I feel we should definitely waive any costs that the village usually, you know, asks for compensation for. And I think it would be a nice honor. It's a small honor, but something we should do for all this time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. The only problem is Bruce is the one who always handled this.
Ironically.
We'll work around that one. Well, maybe we can get them back. That would be good. Okay, so everyone okay with that? Those two?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
To move ahead. I think Jeff has all the information on where to get plaques and everything, and Bugsy usually handles it, so those guys can coordinate. Is there anything else on the agenda? I kind of lost my page here.
No,
Well, the plaque wasn't even on my agenda, but I printed it yesterday, so.
Right, yeah.
yeah, I just printed it today and that's as much as I have code.
Right. Okay. So I guess we'll open up to the public for a bit on any of the topics we talked about or whatever you'd like to, if there's anyone that would like to ask questions or make a comment. Anyone there, Michael?
Yes, Kathleen Foley has her hand up.
Kathleen Foley's there, but she's not raising her hand.
Yeah, it's up.
Yes, she is.
She is.
She
Yeah.
just did.
She just did. Okay.
Hey,
Hello.
No, how are you?
I'm just,
Are you in a closet? No.
it's my office. I wrote like my entire dissertation in this closet. It used to be a closet. Now it's my office.
Oh, very nice. It's got a window.
Got a
Everything's right
window?
where you need it.
I thank you, Marie and Dave, for advocating for having some kind of presence on Parrott Street on Halloween, because I think there's no stopping people coming. You're right. Over the last couple of years, toward the end of the evening, I sat at a friend's house at the end of Maple Terrace, and the police department actually had sawhorses there at the corner of Parsonage and Maple Terrace because people were trying to turn onto that street. So that might be something to consider as coming down from the peak of the hill to there. It was something that got, as I recall, and Larry would know for sure, as I recall, the sawhorses got moved from further up Maple and Terrace to the intersection when car traffic increased through the evening. So just throwing that out. And this is such a sucky position to be in, to have to be discouraging people at Halloween, and COVID sucks.
We got you on tape.
It does. It ruins everything. It's ruined everything. Good
We're
night.
good at it now, though.
What?
We're good at being heartless now. We've done it a lot.
Yeah.
Screw Halloween. I don't give a shit.
Somebody's got to do it.
Working our way through the holidays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, on a happy note, the CDC came out warning people not to get together for family holidays at Thanksgiving, too.
I saw that. That's going to be
So-
super popular.
That's fine with me, too.
Yeah.
I think that's fine for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have to keep each other safe. That's all there is. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I don't see anybody else up.
Do we have many people viewing tonight?
Nobody.
No, it's just
Just
Kathleen.
Kathleen.
It's Kathleen, okay, good.
Holy
It's like being in the village hall.
Yep. Getting back to that.
All right.
They got bored with our code stuff.
By the way, I might just mention, it would be nice to have a Facebook post on our site, and also Cold Spring Neighbors, just encouraging people how to log on and have the Zoom address. I mean, this is so easy for people to join in and participate in their local government. I've been shocked since we've been meeting virtually that so few people have really been joining in. And I'd like to, I think it would be a good idea if we could encourage people to do so. It's nice, you know, I actually enjoy this a lot more than having our meetings in person, because I can look at your faces and discuss things with you. Whereas, you know, when we're all sitting in a row, like, you know, like cheerleaders or something, you know, the environment is not so great for us to like really engage with each other and speak to each other face to face. And I actually like this, and I like it that people can join so easily from the comfort of their own homes. I'd like to encourage it if we could.
Okay, I mean, I've thought of this before. The links are actually on our website, and they're very easy to get to. If you go on the Board
agree.
of Trustees website, I just looked, and the HDRB website has a link for their meetings too. So I assume that everybody who has a meeting, planning, I assume has one too. You just have to go and get onto their website, and well, I don't see plannings, but I do see ours, and I do see HDRB's. So that's a start.
Yeah, I
So
think
I
it
will-
would be a good idea. It's just a friendly reminder, that's all. And just to talk us up a little bit.
I mean, most of it, in the beginning, we got people, and now, because we're mostly doing code, people aren't just really gonna hang out.
Well, yeah.
Geez, I wonder why.
Because we're having so much fun.
Okay.
Oh,
Anything
I
else?
do have a little announcement though too. I've taken another job, and my shift, I have been able to clear out Tuesday evenings, but for the most part, my shift is going to be like 11 to 8 every day. So, except for Tuesdays. So, you know, on other meetings, I will do my best to join in virtually, but I just wanted to let you know. And we'll also be away the week of October 17th. Actually, it's starting the week of
Saturday.
October 18th.
Sunday.
Good luck with the job, Lynn.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks.
So Kathleen has her hand up again.
No, you only get one chance, Kathleen, sorry.
I know it's like so exhausting, this huge audience. I wanted to agree with Lynn that I think it could be really helpful. The challenge with the website is that you have to go down through so many layers to actually get to a link, right? You have to know to go to look at each board, and then know to look at the agendas, and then you go down to the agenda and you have to link to the
No.
PDF, and then is there a shortcut?
For
I've
the
been
for the
spending
Board
so
of
much
Trustees,
time.
for the Board of Trustees, you go onto the Board of Trustees page, and you just slide down to the bottom left-hand column where it says Quick Links, and you click on Board of Trustees meeting on Zoom.
Is there on the front page?
Okay.
HDRB has the same thing.
But I think that's kind of what Kathleen's saying. It's like each one
Hard
you
to
have
find.
to do this
Yeah.
whole scrolling. Isn't there a way for is there on the first page just for meetings, like quick link just for meetings? I'm not familiar with it.
I don't know. That's a Jeff question.
Okay. I'll talk to Jeff. I think that should be on the front page, you know, Zoom meeting for each one, and you can just.
Well, there are all these little buttons here, like Village News Calendar Quick Links, but then you could add another button there that just said meeting links.
Sure, and also Lynn's suggestion, people do look at Facebook. It can be shared more easily on Facebook. And this is really easy for people to join. I've been surprised the number of people who've said, oh, I watched the village board meeting the other night. I mean, that happened once you all, bless you, took the initiative to get the meetings recorded and up on YouTube. People do watch them, and it's hard for me to imagine spending another evening watching them, but they do. And maybe if you let people know that they could participate, because there are public boards in this county that aren't giving the amount of access that you are, and you are making it possible for people to continue to participate and comment. And that's, I think, a fantastic thing. Except it's just me.
Thank you. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Time to go to work, Sam. You got to work now if you're going to hang.
Okay, we will now get into our code review. And just for anyone that is,
Dawning.
and anyone that is watching, we will not be taking public comment at the end or during. So you'll be just watching, and you'll have ample time to comment during public, when we have our public hearings. So that said, I think we should go like Fran said, maybe can we clean up?
I'm sorry. I had asked that I have an opportunity to discuss the schedule with the board.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So currently.
You asked this to.
You.
I remember.
You missed it, Dave.
Go ahead.
Originally, the schedule was to have the draft village code amendments completed by the first quarter of 2020. We are now in essentially the fourth quarter of 2020. And I'm guessing that it will take us another quarter to complete. I have a conference call with NYSERDA on Friday to discuss changes to the schedule. That's the first one, the draft village code amendments, targeted for first quarter of 2020, and I'm asking that it be moved to first quarter 2021. I'm asking for a year delay on that. The next checkpoint is public meetings and review documentation. That checkpoint is second quarter 2020. I'm asking that it be moved to second quarter 2021. The next is village code, final village code zoning map, and that date is third quarter 2020. I'm asking it be moved to third quarter 2021. Next is secret documentation. Checkpoint is third quarter 2020. I'm asking it be moved to 2021. And then the adoption documentation is fourth quarter 2020. I'm going to ask that it be moved to fourth quarter 2021. So for the village board, we need to put in place a full court press to get the village code amendments completed by the first quarter of 2021. Do you think that you'll be able to do that?
Marie, what are we talking about that's left? I know we've got 134. I know we've got 71 and 40. Is there anything major after 134?
Yes.
What would
Yes.
that be?
There's the vehicles and traffic
Right.
that
Okay.
you're working on with Larry. I believe there is the riverfront review law. And that's probably something like 132. And that's a new chapter. I'd have to go back to go through the rest to see what else is missing. My estimation, we are about not even a quarter through chapter 134. And it will take, in my opinion, at least another 3 to 4 meetings of probably 2 hours duration to get through it. So
Most of the end, I would disagree. I think the end, a lot of 134, once we get through these, the different dimensions, I think I think we can breeze through. I went through it again just a while ago, and a lot of the pages towards the end are, we can go through. They're just modeled, my questions usually are just on the dimensions and how we came up with them, what they're there. But so I think we definitely need a couple more days, but I think then we can get through that.
the zoning map will take time.
How is the zoning? I thought that was kind of, if we agreed on these, on the different categories or whatever you'd like to call them, districts, why will that take time?
To get agreement that those properties, well, somebody's got a radio on or a television.
I don't hear it.
Hear it.
Is it the rain?
I-
My window's open and it's raining really loud. Could that be it?
No, it's the Trump debates are gonna blah, 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 blah. It's in this report. So the zoning code, the zoning map, each one of those properties has to be changed from what it currently is to what it's being proposed to be.
But there's not a real lot on there. It's not that I could see.
Yes, it's in the spreadsheet that's on the,
I know, I'm looking at the zoning map. I don't see where there'll be much conflict.
sorry, I see what the problem is.
Like, for instance, what, like what, for example? What are we changing? I mean, we're not changing B4, right? Staying?
Right, B4 is not changing. B4A, you're all aware of what the differences are for B4A.
Yes. Mhm.
The changes to, there is currently Appendix D, which identifies every single parcel that is in the B1 district for there's a phrase, the core B1 district. I have found a number of errors in that identification of tax map IDs which no longer exist, and the absence of tax map IDs that do exist. So that has to be updated, and agreement needs to be reached on all of them. Then all of the I1 properties,
But on B1, back to B1, all the properties that are shown with, I would think, with the exception of Hendricks, is Hendricks going to stay in the B1?
that's an issue.
But that's the only one, right? Downey's is pretty much a
As it-
business that's been there forever.
As it turns out, the current zoning for B1, the current materials on file with Putnam County do not reflect the changes that were made from I1 to B1 below the railroad tracks. So all of those need to be agreed to. And I think I have a complete list. And I'm verifying that with the town assessor. There is also the Scenic Hudson property, which is on the southernmost border of the village, which is currently zoned I1 and I2. It specifically states I1 and I2. It can't be two districts. And the recommendation is that it become PR1, Parks and Recreation 1.
Right. See, I mean, just so we're not getting lost in this a bit, but those seem like, I think we're going to agree on all those. I mean, I don't think we're not going to agree on it. We're not going to be able to go through that fairly quickly. I don't think there'll be a lot of discussion on it.
I don't think there's going to be any disagreement on the I1, I2. There's a recommendation that R1 for Dockside be changed to PR1, Parks and Recreation 1. The recommendation, so currently, I've gone back 3 different zoning maps. Originally, the parcels from Wall Street, bounded on the north by Wall Street, the east by Chestnut Street, the south by Benedict Road, and the west by Marion Avenue. Those were all identified as B2. Somehow, at some point, the Hendricks parcel got changed to B1. Now, that being B1 makes no sense to me, since the property immediately to the west of it is B2, and it's a residence. It's a residential parcel. So it seems to me that either both of them, all the 2 parcels that bound on Wall Street between Marion Avenue and Chestnut Street should either both be R1 or they should both be B2.
I would agree with that. I think they should be R1. They've both got houses on them and they're both, well, Hendricks is a new house, so they're not going to be taking that down anytime soon. I mean, as long as we can do that and not restricting people from doing something that they bought into, and which I don't think we are, I don't see a problem with that. But again, getting away from our thing tonight here.
Marie, as we review this, like these changes in these zones and stuff like that, I'm looking at a bunch of numbers that make zero sense to me. Can we either attach that to streets, like addresses, or is there a big enough map that we can look at that we can plot all these places? Because I can't make any sense out of what's Appendix D.
Appendix D, I can certainly go through and give you addresses for the 50 plus parcels that are there.
Which is the only thing at this point that's part of this code that we're looking at, right? Is that what or am I missing something?
I'm sorry, say that again, Fran.
We were just discussing the different things that are being changed, but the only thing I see in 134 that we're reviewing is Appendix D.
Sorry, there is a spreadsheet that I put out on Google that identifies all of the parcels which are currently I1, which are being recommended be changed to MU1. And I think there are a couple of parcels in there which have other district changes in them. And that spreadsheet contains, I believe, the name of the owner from the tax code, from the tax map, from the Putnam County tax database, and the address for that.
Okay, where would I find that, Marie? I'm sorry.
It's on Google. It's on the Google Drive.
It's called, all I see is 134 zoning table of dimensional requirements. I'm sorry. Marie, you can tell me some other time if you can send it to me. Because
Is this in the post phase 5 folder?
Is what in the, there is no post 5. There is no post 5 fold. Oh, yes, it is. Yes.
I don't see.
Is it 134 zoning table?
No.
No. Okay.
Let me go to it.
Well, we're using up time tonight, which is
Okay.
just, I don't think we're.
Okay. So,
Yep.
so the point was the recommendation for the draft village code amendments to go from Q1 2020 to Q1 2021. And my statement was that, in my opinion, it's going to take another 3 months to get through the remainder of the chapters, including the zoning changes for 134, the physical tax map ID changes for 134. Dave, you didn't think that that was going to be the case. So,
Well, I mean, I don't know what's involved with changing the numbers. Are. I think like the board discussing and looking at when we're moving, I don't think there's a lot. I don't think there'd be a lot of disagreement on that.
okay, so then the question is, theoretically, we can have 2 meetings in October, 2 meetings in November, and 2 meetings in December. Do you think that we can get through the remaining chapters, 134, 71, 40, and I think it's 124, Fran?
126.
126, and whatever other chapters have not yet been reviewed?
Why are we at only 2 meetings in October?
I'm just expecting that we will have 2 meetings in October.
I think we should have as many as we can. Can we have
Yeah.
3 besides our
Can
usual meeting?
we just
Sure.
cut our monthly meetings instead of the first, second, and fourth Tuesday to just the second Tuesday regular meeting, and then some small, like half hour on the other meetings, and then move into code?
That's what we've basically been doing.
That would give us like
I
3,
think we have to meet every Tuesday if we're going to get through.
yeah. Mhm.
Well,
So next month, the first meeting is probably going to be devoted to Chazen.
Uh-huh.
What's Chazen?
It's the document that you were sent last week. That is the water study.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Right. I expect that will take a significant amount of time. Then the second meeting is, and maybe we'll get a half an hour out of that we
Mhm.
can use for code. The second meeting is the monthly meeting. Maybe we'll get an hour out of that. The third week is not a scheduled meeting. We can get time out of that. But as you noticed tonight, this was a special meeting, and the first half hour of the meeting was spent on other topics. So maybe we can get an hour and a half out of the third week. Don't know we can get out of the fourth week. I'm not optimistic that we'll be able to get 8 hours of meeting time in October and November and December.
Maybe we can get 6.
We can do it at 6, but I will
No,
say that,
I mean,
sorry,
get 6 hours.
I think we'll be pressed to get 6 hours in October. November possibly. December possibly.
Sure, we can't have any holidays because of COVID, so we should just keep. Sorry about that.
That'd be a Thursday meeting. Thanksgiving.
Nope, sorry, I sign off on that. I eat too much turkey, obviously. But, you know what, if we need to do, I don't know if I can extend the meeting. I want to say can we extend the meetings, but at this point, 2 hours and I fizzle.
I'm not going past 8:30, I know that.
No, I can't.
I agree,
I have a hard time
2 hours is max.
Yeah.
I think we got to just do what we got to do, and we just see what happens in the next, maybe October, and then maybe we got to double up meetings.
Okay, the reason I ask it is I'm going to get one more chance to change the schedule.
Well, why
Can
don't you ask them and tell them where we're at and see if they'll extend it even farther than that. Then
Can we push it to the second quarter of 2021 and then push everything a year and a quarter?
I can ask for that.
Why don't we aim be a little bit more secure?
See how flexible they are. I mean, they've been very flexible with us, and
They really have, yeah.
we can't just drop and say, well, we don't have any more time. Let's have the public hearing. We didn't even look at this. I mean, we could do that. Some people.
I mean, if we can push a year and a quarter, maybe in each area, that might give us a little bit more. Not saying we're not going to aim for the year. It'd be nice if we were ahead of the game.
We could do 2 meetings a week too. I'd like to see what happens in October, and if we get through, see how we get to 134. Some of
Okay.
the other, I don't think we're going to be spending a lot of time on.
I think 120, what is it, Fran?
126. 126.
I think we're going to spend a lot of time on that.
Yeah, if I get my act together on it.
Now,
The
is
other
that
thing-
just basically where we want to change signs or what we want to do as far as sign?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have some type of
Larry
benchmark?
and I have walked through about 3/4 of the village and looked at things that we had suggested for changes. It's not a lot. Some of it was just that what's going on in the street does not conform to what's in the code. But there weren't a lot of suggested changes. So, I mean, at this point, if anyone wants to take a fast look and just
Do you
send me in.
have, is any of that documented, or can you send out, or can we
I
get
mean,
some?
I have it on a very large spreadsheet that I probably have to go to the office and get. Let me, and I can do that.
I mean, we should, whatever, I mean, and just very informally, so we can just start to look at stuff and what the big questions are, or the uniform parking times, and
Yeah.
how we want to, how we want to deal it. I think
Another
that
thing
would
is, yeah,
I can also help somehow we can kind of go through everything quickly or whatever. I think that's a good start and kind of get that going.
Chapter 71 that we looked at a number of times, licensing. John looked at it and sent a whole bunch of suggested changes. I sent them off to everybody. I've incorporated those into 71. I think Marie has looked at most of what I've incorporated. So it adds back some stuff that we wanted to take out. If we want to work on that next week, and if you want to take a look at it, if you think it's clean and we can just get through it, that's fine.
Do you want
I've
to do that tonight?
No.
No?
I'd rather you take a look at it. Unless you think you're just going to agree with everything John said, and I'm fine with that. Marie, have you had a chance to look at the last changes I made on that?
I haven't looked at it since Sunday.
Okay, so let's start the next meeting with that.
Okay.
Um, so we can maybe get through 71. And then,
Okay,
Mary, it is. Go ahead.
that brings us then to 134.
We put a note last time that we were going to start at, I believe it's page 33. It's the MU1 section, which is, see if I can go down.
MU1D is in dog 5.
Right, so 134.12, D5, and we talked about minimum requirements, so it's a D. The MU1,
MU is going to be what is now I1.
Yes.
so this is the mixed use. This is, refresh my memory, Marie. Is this the bank? No, this
No.
isn't
No. The bank is
on the
B3.
riverfront.
No. It's dockside. Sorry, it's Marathon.
Okay, gotcha. So this is basically Marathon. So we were at the,
Yeah, just a question before we start on this. When the CUC was working on this, what were they trying to accomplish on this? Knowing what we know about the village and about this piece of property and the access to it and our water supply and everything else, what was the goal here? What were we working off of?
Okay, so currently the zoning is I1, and the CUC felt that there was limited, if any, requirements for light industry in the village.
Mhm.
Although this property, at least the Marathon section of it, did support I1 for a significant period of time. The issue of egress and ingress was not one that the code update committee addressed. It was felt that that is a problem that has to be addressed whenever whatever is proposed for it is approved or not approved. So we ignored ingress and egress. As far as uses is concerned, the comprehensive plan and the LWRP suggested that the property could be very useful for additional residential and commercial uses, that its proximity to the train station, because there is a path from the boulevard down the hill to the northbound platform, and therefore up and over to the southbound platform, would be very useful for someone interested in housing in the village. So the concept was that it
So
would
that kind of covers to what we just talked about as far as access and egress, and not considering that, but now we're considering a walking path, and that's how we're going to develop the property. It seems
No,
like a conflict.
no,
Well,
no.
one, you're saying we're looking at this and it could be useful because there's walking, easy access walking
Yes.
from one area. But in the other, we're not looking at how this property could be affected by lack of egress.
That is correct. That is correct. The Code Update Committee felt that the planning board, which would review any proposals for the site, would necessarily address ingress and egress. It was recognized that if it was residential, there is a footpath that goes from the boulevard to the northbound platform and thus the southbound platform. In the
I don't, sorry to cut you off. I just don't understand how, I don't know, we're considering, if you're looking at this piece of property and how do you want to come up with dimensions, what you want to, what the options are for its use, and we're not considering people being able to get there, but yet we're considering, on the other hand, people, it's close to this station, you can walk there, and that's influencing what you believe this property should look like.
And I jump in for a second? And I'm not sure that I'm doing this right, but we talked a couple of weeks ago about subdividing property. And if you subdivide by a certain size, then there's a requirement to put streets in, and there's a requirement to put so on and so forth. Is that what we're talking about here? Because I assume this is going to be subdivided.
The
Or
plan,
it's already subdivided.
it is not subdivided.
Okay.
It consists of about 25 different parcels. The major parcel is, I'm gonna, off the top of my head, it's 11 acres. When subdividing, it is the responsibility of the subdivider to identify the public roads, the sewer, and the water lines that are required for whatever the applicant is proposing. So the layout of the lots within the larger 11-acre tract would be identified by the developer and reviewed and approved or disapproved by the planning board. Now, the planning board, I will say again that ingress and egress were not considered, were not considered or addressed by the CUC. That was something that the planning board would address when the applicant for development of this plot applied to the planning board.
But when in developing pieces of property, isn't the code, or the reason why we're developing a code is to control whatever area we're looking at? If we're looking at area and we say, well, we don't want this overbuilt, or we don't want this whatever, isn't that what we're looking at? So I don't know how you can not discuss that. I just, here's a piece of property that can be hugely developed depending on which way we want to go. So in developing a code, I would think we would, that would be something we'd have to consider, or consider it so that when the planning board gets it, this is what the code says.
Right. I don't disagree with you that the consideration should be in the code for what can and cannot be done with the parcel. And that's where the minimum and maximums come in, as well as use.
Right. So that was my initial question, is what was considered, whether, that being one of the factors I would think is ingress and egress. And then also, where did the CUC consider, because of some of these restrictions, how large property lots should be on this property?
Yes. So we'll come back to the second in a moment. As far as the first is concerned, the developer of the property has in fact some alternatives to provide ingress and egress. The developer of the property could potentially purchase land from Metro North, which runs adjacent to the railroad tracks on the east side of the railroad tracks. And that goes from the boulevard to Lund Terrace. So the developer of the property could potentially come up with another access mechanism to the boulevard. In addition, the developer
Wouldn't he also need property from Forge Gate, because that's right by the trestle or the bridge? I don't think Metro North owns that, and you'd have to have access from there. Just saying.
Yes. So in looking at the property, Metro North owns property that is to the west of Forge Gate and abuts into Lund Terrace. So I believe if you go and look at it, there's the 90-degree turn to get over Lund Terrace. As you're walking up Lund Terrace, if you look straight ahead,
I know exactly where you mean. It's very steep. It drops down. It's by the, it just drops straight down.
yes,
I know what you mean.
yes. And a savvy developer could come up with some method of changing that from a very steep slope to a gradual ramp that gets from Lund Terrace to the boulevard. So that is a possibility.
He could build a bridge also over.
That's right. And if you build a bridge, they will come.
Is that the only, is that the only MU property we have in the village?
No, anything that is currently I-1 would become MU1.
No, that's not true.
Pardon me?
Right now, our parks are I-1, and that's what it looks like on the map anyway. And they're not going to be changed to MU1. Mayor's Park,
So Mayor's Park is going to be changed to PR1.
right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So I misspoke. There are some,
There's 3 properties.
actually there are 4.
Okay, I see 3 here, but
There's the lady that just bought Impels, then there's Janet Rust, then there's Riverview, and then there's the parcel that goes behind them all, and then adjacent to Fair Street. So
Right.
there are 4 parcels there. The other parcels that are MU, that are I-1, the zoning change that occurred in 2004, which modified all I-1 properties to the west of the railroad tracks into B1.
See that, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That is not reflected in the Putnam County database. So those all have to be changed to, those are currently shown by the Putnam County database as being I-1. Most of them need to be changed to B1. There are exceptions to that. The chapel and Foundry Dock Park, the recommendation is that those be changed to PR1, right?
Okay.
And then there's the Metro North parking lot, which is currently shown as I-1, which should be changed to B1. So those are the non-marathon properties. Now, the way that the 1984 map was drawn, let me just make sure. Sorry, the way the 2008 map was drawn, it was drawn with a straight line from the west side of Marathon and the east side of Marathon, proceeding north to Rock Street, which meant that there are some properties on Rock Street and a portion of Forge Gate, which are currently shown as zoned I-1, which need to be corrected. Forge Gate needs to be changed to totally R3, and the properties that are bisected by the I-1 R3 districting need to be changed so that they are either all R1, all R3 or all MU1.
why can't they be R1? Those properties, the ones that are on Rock Street. And
Well,
Campbell.
currently, the Pew residence and the property to the south of him is currently an it's currently a multiple, right. The rest of them, they could be changed to R1, but I would think a more lenient districting would be MU1.
I mean, they just seem like small pieces of property with houses on them and steep slopes and whatever, so.
There's one that's not small. There are 2 that are not small. One of them is Snooky Perks property on the boulevard and on Campbell Avenue.
Right.
That's fairly large. That one is, the recommendation for that is to go to R3. The Snooky Perk property is actually 2 lots. One lot is L-shaped. It goes from Snooky's house, includes all the garages, and then goes to the house that's up on the hill. And then there's the house that the Hickeys lived in. And that's a separate lot. That would go to R1. And the L-shaped portion, the larger portion, would go to R3. Then on Rock Street, there is the first parcel on Rock Street, which is currently I1. And the recommendation there was that it go to MU1. It's not industrial, right? So it should be something other than that. And McConville's property, which fronts on Rock Street and Kemble Avenue, that should go to R1. So those are the changes. And I just checked, you're correct. The spreadsheet is not on the Google Drive, and I'll make sure that that gets fixed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. I was looking for it, couldn't find it.
Now, I know I put it out there. I must have deleted it.
So we back on D for the MU property?
Yes. So,
So the question that we stopped at last time was the side yard, the side yard measurement, which is going from 25 to 5 feet, and the total of both side yards going from 50 to 10 feet. And the question is, are we comfortable with that? Now, the lot area is 10,000 square feet.
What page is this again? Sorry. I got
33. 33. It's D, minimum requirements.
right. Somehow I don't have the, I got the docs. I thought there was I don't see the changes. Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Took me a
It's
little.
okay. Yeah, we're at the side yard. It's D5, minimum requirements D5. One side yard went from 25 to 5. I'm trying to get my head around the fact that if a lot is 10,000 square feet, and
Stop it.
is there a percentage coverage on this, Marie?
yes, it's under
Got it, 30%.
E2.
If it's
Yeah, I'll be right
30% on 10,000 square feet, why can't we have a 25-foot side yard?
The concept again for MU, I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. The concept for the Marathon property was that it would more mimic the older portion of the village than a 25-foot setback, which is common in a more rural district. So the idea was to bring the front of the property closer to the roadbed, making it more inviting and more walkable.
Okay, so the front is 10 feet, that I see, but the side yards at 5 instead of 25 to me seems awfully small.
My desk here is longer than 5 feet.
You have a big desk.
But this again goes back to my question on when we're thinking about this, it seems like this adds more building possibilities here or more jammed areas.
Well, if we've got we have a minimum lot of 10,000 square feet, and the maximum you can put on it, maximum building percentage is 30%. Why are we squeezing it against one side?
You can modify that any way you wish.
Right, only if they choose to.
I know that's a minimum, and I understand that, which leaves a whole big side on the other side, I guess. Well, total of both side yards is minimum 10 feet. It just to me seems like, to me it doesn't add up. 30% on 10,000 square feet, and the side totals is a minimum of 10. I was fine with 50. 10 to me seems like.
I think those are minimums, Fran.
They are, and I know that, yeah.
Right.
So I guess I'm okay with it.
Fran, don't give up so easily, Fran.
I'm just.
The point, I think the point that you might want to make is that a side yard of 5 feet for lot A and a side yard of 5 feet of lot B adjacent to one another could lead to a distance of only 10 feet between two structures.
That's what I wanted to say, Marie. Thank you.
You're welcome, Fran. You're welcome.
Yeah, and to me that seems tight. I mean, I'm better off with
Alley. You know, that's a narrow little alley.
Not even
It's
a
not,
driveway.
it's not even a driveway. I know you can put the driveway on
Yeah.
the other side, but,
Mm.
you know, with
And-
that
And
much space,
even though it's just a minimum,
I-
you know, we know how developers go. I mean, they're going to try to cram as much stuff on there as possible.
I mean, with that much space, I just would prefer seeing the houses more central, or at least a little bit off the side.
Can
So-
you put 10 and 10 on either side?
Or
I mean,
15,
I'm going
15
with
and
20.
15? Go ahead,
We
Frank.
had 25 and 50, so maybe 20 and 40. I mean, I was fine with 25 and 50, but I'll go to 20 and 40.
It's okay.
Okay,
with
so,
me.
so 20 and 40 would give you a total both side yards of 40 with a
Right.
70, with a 75-foot wide lot. You have 35 feet for your primary structure.
Yeah.
35,
Limited.
which,
It's
And-
bigger than mine, but not much. So it's about, I think my house is, I got a 40 by 100 lot. So what is this? Maybe 25, this house?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be a little bit bigger than mine. It'd be about mine plus almost all of my, let's say mine plus the driveway. That's a decent size.
it would be 1.5 times yours.
Mhm. All right, so maybe 15 and 30.
Did we change last week the 10,000 square feet?
No,
I don't think so.
That's-
That's,
That's the
No.
way it was.
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And,
Because
and
we-
that, and that is the same as the R1 district. The lot size there is 10,000 square feet.
I thought it was 75 by 75.
It is 75. What I was
75
gonna
by
say,
100.
no, it's 75 by 75. The lot depth, the minimum lot depth is 75 feet. And here we're saying the minimum lot depth is 100 feet.
So we want to go to
But in
50.
R1, we're talking 5,600 square feet versus 10,000 square feet.
No, R1 is, I believe R1 is 10,000.
That's what I was just saying. I thought it was 70 by 75. What's the
It
lot?
is 75 wide, 75 deep. That's the minimum lot size. Sorry, that's the minimum lot width and the minimum lot depth. But the minimum lot size is larger than width times depth.
Mhm. Okay.
So side yards, are we gonna go above 5? Can we go to 15? Anybody?
I'm
Anybody?
happy with that.
Yes?
I agree.
I'll go along with that, whatever the crowd says on here. Really wrap my head around the whole thing. So,
15. And, okay, so both side yards would be 30.
Or you can make it wider. You
No, if
don't,
we're gonna- We
you
don't have to
don't-
double?
no, you don't have to, sorry. You can make it larger than double. It has
Do
to
it.
at least be double, but you can make it larger than double.
Okay, anybody want to make it larger than 30?
30 feet
Yeah.
seems a lot of room.
Yep.
Without I think 30 feet's fine for those 2 yards.
We're good? And, hey, moving on. All right, off-street parking, see supplemental regulations. Habitable floor area per dwelling unit, 600 square
Okay.
feet.
Okay, hold on that because that's one of the ones that John, Ted
Ted.
is looking at.
Okay. Building percentage of lot coverage is 30%. We okay with that?
I don't know why you would want to make it any bigger or smaller.
Um,
It's what R1 currently has.
That's fine. Marie, the way this is shown on the page, it says number 2, building percentage of lot coverage 30%, and then it said A for residential use 30, B for business use 30, for mixed use 50.
Right, and
So
and
first of all,
that's the Michael Reisman letter.
okay, should I take out the 30% next to number 2? Next to
No.
the first line? No?
No.
Even though
No.
it's broken down?
Even-
A, B, and C.
Right, I
Right.
think you should.
So I take this out.
Why?
Because it's below is stating what the lot coverage is.
I'm sorry. So if what you're doing is developing a residential lot, then it's 30% lot coverage. If what you're doing is developing a business use lot, then it's 30%.
Right.
If what you're developing is a lot that is both business and residential,
Mhm.
that is the 50%, and that is what Michael Reisman is opposed to.
Right.
So above,
He just wants to take out the top and leave all A, B, and we'll discuss C, but isn't that enough? Because building percentage, the first line says it's 30% when that's not true because it's broken down differently below.
I'm sorry. It just jumped on me. So the topic is building percentage of lot coverage.
Right, yep.
yes.
Right, okay.
So take out the rest of that line.
It's already deleted.
I just did that.
I'm sorry, I thought it had already been deleted.
Okay. It's gone now. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Now, Michael Reisman's letter, which I sort of read. So,
His feeling is that a 50% building percentage of lot coverage is just too dense. Too dense. 50% is not permitted anywhere in the village.
I'd have to agree with him.
now what's interesting is this is the MU zone that we're talking about. But
Yep.
yet we're having different percentages depending on what you're going to do with your particular lot.
Yep. As it turns out, yes.
Which sort of doesn't make a lot of sense.
The intention here was to incent mixed use
Right,
By by giving a higher percentage of lot coverage.
but in general, it's the mixed use zone.
It's the
So
mixed
to
use.
say-
It's
to
the
say-
mixed use. It's the mixed use zone. Yes, and you can have 3 different types of uses in a mixed use zone. You can have a residential use, you can have a business use, or you could have a mixed use, which is a combination of residential and business.
I agree with Michael. I think, first of all, I think it should be consistent because it's going to stand out like a sore thumb if you've got one lot that's crowded and the other 2 are like houses in between. And I like it to be just the regular 30%. The rest of the village is pretty much 30%, right?
35%, I think it's in B1. There's a 35% lot
B1.
coverage in one of the other zones. I think it's B1.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
Agree
fine
with
with
Michael.
all being 30%.
yeah, I would go with mixed use also being 30% or 35 at the most to go along with the B1s, but I wouldn't go to 50.
Steve, Lynn,
I agree.
I mean, I agree on the surface, but at the same time, I'm just trying to visualize it, where if somebody has a piece of property that they want to use for mixed use, so that they're living there, let's say an artist studio or something like that, where they're living there and they also have their studio there, or it could be a musician's studio where they're building instruments or something like that. I guess, you know, what we're really doing is requiring, I don't know, I'm trying to visualize it. And, you know, Michael Reisman objected to the 50%, right?
Yes,
That's what she said. Okay. And he wanted it 30%?
30%.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm fine going with that. I'm just thinking, you know, if the intent is to incentivize mixed use, seems like the 50% is not unreasonable. And, you know, we're talking about at least 10,000 square feet lot. So 50% of that would be 5,000 square feet. I don't know.
But that
Doesn't
doesn't,
seem that bad to me, but I'm happy to go on.
but that doesn't include multiple stories, that square footage, correct? So
Yeah.
if you have
This is
you don't
footprint.
have a 5,000 square
Yeah.
foot floor, you have
You could move up.
two
Yeah.
2,000 square foot floors, and you're still well underneath the 50% or
Sorry, this is footprint.
footprint. Yeah.
Yeah, right. This is not floor area.
Right.
So you would have a building that occupied 5,000 square feet of your 10,000 square foot lot. That's a big building.
Yeah. Massive.
The building on Fair Street that was in Pell's garage, do we have any concept of how much, what percentage of that lot, that building, because that's a mixed-use building.
That's probably 50,
It's-
45, 50%,
Yeah. It's a small
Yeah.
lot. So,
probably
It's
at least.
It's currently I-1.
Right, but it will be MU.
It would go to MU, but it will become, it will be built under the I-1 regs. It will not be
Right.
built under the
And
MU.
I'm just trying to visualize, I know it'll be grandfathered in, and that's not the issue. The issue is I'm trying to visualize what this would look like. That's a relatively small lot, I would guess. It's not 10,000 square feet, right?
It is a non-conforming, pre-existing non-conforming I-1 lot.
Right. So if we would allow 50%, the lots would sort of look like that. It's mostly
Not really.
building.
Well, they're gonna have bigger side setbacks. Well, I guess it would look something like that.
Yeah.
Gonna be set back more.
And if they have 50, if they only have 10 feet in the front and a lot more back, that's sort of what it would look like.
50% of a lot, that's a lot of coverage.
Yeah. I would go to 30 or maybe 35 to go along with the B3, but I wouldn't go to 50.
I'll have to look up the B1.
I've been doing some interesting reading recently about how denser cities actually have lower carbon footprints. So that's what's kind of nagging me in the back of my mind about that. So, you know, from an environmental standpoint, it's actually better for cities to have, you know, closer buildings, but we're not really.
Have to do with the percentage on your lot though, because it's gonna still be
Yeah.
same number of people, but I know what
Yeah,
you're
you're
saying.
right. You're right.
The B1 is 30%.
Yeah, I'll look up which one is 35.
Okay. So what do we want to do? Want to leave this at 30 or 35?
I think it should be, I'd go with 30. I mean, business is 30. So you have business, you have a second floor and it's your residence. It's, you know, kind of like, well,
That's good.
my feeling.
Okay, I'm good with 30.
Me too.
Okay, moving on once I get back to where I was. Where were we?
Page 34. Do you want me to change it, Fran?
I got it, I'm back, thank you. And then everything else is good.
Quick question for you, Marie. How does Dockside fall into our jurisdiction since it's a state park? Do we still control that somehow or we still
They have to, I believe we get to zone it.
Right. Then they get to do whatever they want.
Well, it's probably similar to municipal use. The municipality can do almost anything that they want.
No, that's true. Yeah. Okay. No, I just wondered, because I know we have it as one, we're setting it as parks, or we're going to set that as PR1.
Yes,
Okay.
I don't want to leave it as R1.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Just wondered.
Okay, so we're removing that. Okay, we're up to supplemental regulations applying to MUs. Any permitted non-residential use located on a lot, any lot line of which lies within 25 feet of a residence district boundary shall be screened along any such lot line and light shall be so, okay, didn't we do this before?
It's similar to other districts which are commercial or business. And the objective here is to make sure that those businesses do not glare into residential areas.
Right, okay, so we just took out the glare and referred to chapter 81.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else before I hit the next?
Got an extra period after lighting standards.
Oh, now Steve, you're confusing me. Where am I?
Oh, and one.
Down one line.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, if anybody sees it, Phil, I got it. There we go. Okay, gotcha. All right, moving down. Okay, that's just to add that. Three.
So you,
Okay.
Fran, you want to take out left paren 5, right paren amended by,
Okay, gotcha. Mhm.
and could you also take out the amended by under 6?
Sure. Whoops.
I'm not
If I
even
move.
seeing 6. I have 4 and 5. And then
6 is coming.
That's how I see
Here
it.
we go.
Got it.
Yeah, I got it sort of moved out of the way.
Yep.
Okay, storage, bulk or wholesale storage of gasoline above or below ground, we're keeping that in. Adding 5, put the space in. We're taking this out.
Yeah.
And okay, delete that. And 7 goes back where it belongs. Okay.
If I might give an intro to this, currently in the zoning map, there is something called recreation. There is no reference in the code to what the recreation district consists of, or what uses are permitted or prohibited in the recreation district. The Code Update Committee felt that there were significant properties within the village that are devoted to parks and recreation. And so the Code Update Committee identified a district called the PR1 district, and it's known as Parks and Recreation. What you have here is an intro as to why it is being done, and an identification in the second paragraph as to which properties it would apply to.
Okay, so we're changing I2 to PR1. It's being created to define areas in the village to provide opportunities for enjoyment. Ronald, I didn't know his name was Ronald. West Point Foundry Preserve, Foundry Dock Park.
So important to note here is that the Cold Spring Boat Club is being identified as a Parks and Recreation, as part of the Parks and Recreation District.
And the Foundry, I guess, follows the same rule we just talked about for dockside. We get to zone it.
Yeah, because it's scenic Hudson.
Okay.
Now, the
Okay,
boat
dock
club
off.
stretches to where we're renting to Hudson House and right to the corner.
Yes.
What do we do with that? Because it's not going to be parked, or I didn't read down this. Are we allowed to having a municipal lot there? Well, it's not municipal, it's a private lot for parking.
I don't remember, Dave. We could read through it.
Okay.
Um,
And then the other question is the Impel property, which came up, I think, last time, which is
Yes.
now green. Can we even legally do that?
well, that's a good question. My opinion on that is it's currently identified on the zoning map as
Mhm.
recreation,
Oh, right. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
right? And so we're not changing that. If Tom Impel has an issue, he has an issue with the 2008 zoning map,
Okay. Yep.
because that's where it was identified first as recreation.
Okay. Got you.
So everything, okay, from the Hudson River, bounded on the north by New Street, on the south by, I didn't look up these tax IDs.
I'll check them again, Fran, because
Sorry, Marie.
no, I'll check them again because there have been a couple of tax map IDs which are no longer valid. So this is 13413 tax map IDs.
From the boat club to Market Street. Okay, bounded on the north by New Street, okay. So the riverfront is not considered Parks and Recreation.
Waterfront Park, the first one. Parks and
Okay. So what about the street? What about West Street? So Waterfront Park, and West Street is considered the houses, like the condos along West Street, Moo-Moos and all that stuff.
That's B1.
That's all B1.
Mhm.
Gotcha, okay, okay. So we're good with this. I'm gonna accept that. And we're good with anybody have any, accepting with this text here, following regulations shall apply to people. Site plan renewal, review and approval in such cases where a use or a building or alteration is proposed into the site plan should be submitted.
This is a sort of boilerplate.
Okay, planning board shall authorize. Okay, so that's following regulations, site plan approval, review.
We should look into what we're going to do with the dockside, or how that fits in here. Dockside, or not dockside. Yeah, Hudson
Right.
House
Mhm.
parking.
Um,
It's not in permitted uses. It's
yes, and in thinking about it, parking areas should be included in this.
Yeah, because any kind of parks and playgrounds typically have parking areas.
and I think that would yeah, and that would help down at Mayor's Park too if the parking along there
Yeah.
is parking as part of parks. Then we can regulate it.
Do we want to just add that to permitted use?
Now, let me take a look at it, Fran.
Okay. All right. So neighborhood and community parks and grounds, public plazas.
The
and
part about
gas
marinas and sales of pleasure boats, I'm not for having that, someone being able to sell pleasure boats, as you put it here. What is a pleasure boat? Maybe I'd like to go on a pleasure boat.
Behave.
Says Marines for docking, repair, sales and service of pleasure boats and for, yeah. You see where I'm saying?
Yes, let me, marinas was in the, let me, valid point, let me look into it. I know that I left Marina somewhere. I didn't think it was here. So let me look into it before we delete it.
Those are juice should be established and impossible. Minimum requirements. We want to continue on minimum requirements.
Yes, please.
Okay.
There's one here that's going to be a problem.
You can tell, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. No, lot area, 1,000 square feet. That's small. 20 by 20. Front yard 5, side yard 5. Total both side yards 10, and the rear yard 10.
Fran, can you change F to E?
No, what did I do? I changed it in the wrong place.
No, you deleted it. Now you just need to make it F. E.
Okay. Hang on, because somewhere along the line I jumped to a whole different area.
Okay.
Don't ask me where I ended up. What page are we on, Dave?
36, Fran.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there we go. Why the heck does this keep doing this to me? I thought it was there.
It's you.
One more time. I know, it's me. It hates me.
It's after you. Okay, try the following. Go to maximum permitted, do a backspace. And now put an E in. There you go.
Works for me, thank you.
So now maximum permitted is where I think you'll have a problem.
Building height, 1 story, 16 feet.
And building percentage of lot coverage, 1%.
1%. Well, this is Parks and Recreation, so it's a tiny lot. It's only 1,000 square foot lot, so basically you can't build anything on it, except
That's
maybe an
it.
outhouse.
That's the minimum requirements.
Right.
Most of the properties that fall into this are significantly larger. So you take Scenic Hudson, which is 5, 6, 7 acres. Dockside, which is over 5 acres. Foundry Dock Park is small.
Well, I mean, we do want to keep it parks. That's the idea of this.
Yeah, the idea from the code update is we wanted to discourage buildings.
But then you've got Impel, and he's not going to like that at all.
Yeah.
But then also, if we wanted to put some kind of concession on Dockside,
Yeah, permanent building, but Dockside's fairly big.
yeah, that's true.
It's
What
5
percent of
acres.
that- You said it's 5 acres?
Yeah, it's at least 5 acres.
So I mean, we wouldn't put much more than a concession stand and maybe a couple of
Yeah,
restrooms, a couple of permanent restrooms.
Will 1% cover that?
I don't know.
It seems like not enough.
Well,
I would
5
almost,
Taking
But-
chances, you know?
what's an acre? 20 by 20? 20,000 by 20,000?
I don't know.
Or is
I
it
can look
40
it
by,
up right now.
or is it 40 by 40?
I think it's 40,000 square feet, isn't it?
Okay, so you've got, you have 40,000 times 5, you've got 200,000 square feet. 1%.
An acre is 43,560 square feet.
Okay, so I'm just rounding it down.
Okay.
So it's 40,000 times 5, so that's 200,000 square feet. 1% of that is 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Or building percentage of lot coverage at Dockside.
2,000 square feet's a big piece of
Yes.
property. Yeah, we don't want to put
That's-
much more than that. I mean, if we made it 10%, we'd have 20,000. That's too big.
that's too big.
Yeah.
No, it was specifically the committee wanted it to be as small as possible.
That makes sense. Now that I did some math, it makes sense to me.
Is there a way that we can zone Mr. Impel's piece of property different?
Be called spot.
It would be called spot zoning.
Well, if he wanted to do something with it, he can always ask for a variance from this, right?
Mhm.
Yes,
And he would have to go through that process anyway.
yes.
So,
I agree.
it doesn't make sense to write code to accommodate one piece of property.
In fact, you
You know,
can't.
in the outside chance he might want to do something with it, which is,
And my thoughts are he's probably gonna want to sell it and then sell it to someone knowing that they have a limit. And they too could do the same thing.
Yes, there are some disadvantages with that lot. The first is it's in a flood zone. Fran, under minimum requirements, there's a slash
Right.
instead of a period.
Okay, gotcha.
My mistake there.
Not a problem.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So we okay with the maximum permitted?
Yes.
See, Maureen, I thought we were gonna yell.
Yeah, I did expect a fight on that one.
Okay, so everything else we're gonna accept as is?
And by the way, the Foundry Dock, not Foundry, West Point Foundry Park, they have currently a pre-existing non-conforming building, and we're not going to do anything about that.
You mean the old building that's there?
It's
Okay.
it's higher than 16 feet.
It's got a tower on it too, a bell. Okay. And E. So all the rest of this is good. 20, and you were gonna check on something else with the marinas, Marie?
Yes, I have that on my list of things to do.
Okay, so I will leave that area. Not, okay. Following regulations shall apply in all I2 districts, and we don't have any more, right? So we're taking this out.
Right.
So since we don't have any I2 districts, we're pretty much deleting everything that comes under I2,
Mhm.
which is the next. See, look at how fast we can do all these pages. Neat. Okay.
You're going to get rid of the A, B, and C?
I am.
Okay. You're
Uh,
doing the other stuff
okay.
now. Got it.
It sort of went upside down. I'm trying to say where my. I'll come back and get rid of all of that.
Yeah.
Delete. Oops, that was wrong. I mean, I can
Brad, you
continue
want to
this
just
some
go
other
down
time.
to like 134.15?
Let's-
Deal
Let's
with
move
the other.
down. Yep, okay. 134.15, regulations for B4 designated medical and healthcare facilities district. Following regulations apply to B4. Site plan review and approval in each case for a building or alteration or conversion is proposed. We take out or use. Okay,
I got kicked out of 134, so let me catch up with
okay, we're on page
I
41.
thought, thank you. I thought that I had deleted all of this and moved it to, page 41. 41?
Yeah.
41, yes.
13415A.
Yes. It's B4.
I'm almost there.
All right. Okay. Submitted to the. Building alteration and conversion. You there?
You there, Marie? We good?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm
Sorry.
here.
Okay. All right. So we're reading site plan review and approval. In each case, whether a building or alteration or conversion is proposed in this district, a site plan shall be submitted to the code enforcement officer, who shall refer the site plan of the proposed building. Do we need to say or alteration or conversion here? Where you're
No.
taking out, it's the fourth line.
No, we don't need to.
No, we don't need to, okay. To the planning board. Planning board shall determine that all requirements of this chapter have been met, including the site plan review required to take that out.
Yep.
Have been met after holding a public hearing. In each case, follow the procedures required for approval of the site plan under the village approval. Okay, permitted use, we're in B4, any use permitted in R1 with the exception of both accessory apartments and overnight accommodations, neither of which are permitted in B4. We're okay with that?
We might have to work on overnight accommodations before we do that, but
Well, this is the hospital medical.
right.
Sorry. This is Chestnut Ridge. Chestnut Ridge, I don't think we want to permit overnight accommodations in Chestnut Ridge.
But did we define overnight accommodations yet?
You can define them any way you want. We're not going to let them here.
Okay.
Okay, this is Chestnut Ridge, but it says medical and healthcare facility. So
Are
is it
are permitted uses in a B4 district.
okay, but the title says regulations for B4 designated medical and healthcare facility district.
Right.
Should
So
that should be,
if someone else wants to come along and define another B4, another area for B4, they would be permitted to have a hospital or sanatorium on that property.
so at this point, it is Chestnut Ridge and,
No, just Chestnut Ridge is the only existing B4 district. It's the only structure in a B4 district currently.
so,
Right now, what is Butterfield?
B4A. It's a separate zone.
okay, so on 08 map, Butterfield is still considered B4, right?
I'm sorry?
On the 2008 map, Butterfield is still considered B4?
Yeah.
On the 2008, yes.
Yes, okay, so now I know what I'm looking at. I just don't like the title. It just doesn't sound, I don't picture Chestnut Ridge as being a medical care. I know maybe they can, but that to me leaves out the senior residences.
It's what is permitted in addition to senior residences. So if you uses under special use permit according to 134-16, senior citizen housing. C.
So we're just gonna still call it a medical, the title of B4.
Yeah.
It's considered medical and healthcare facility.
Yeah. And as a special use, you can do senior citizen housing.
Now, that's
Okay.
not exactly senior citizen housing there. It's considered, what was it considered now? Because it's also section,
It's HUD, and I forget what the section
Yeah.
section is. And they permit senior citizen housing and then some other special categories. People with disabilities,
mhm.
Low
and
income.
well, because it's HUD, it's low income. But you have to be 55 or older, or 65 or older, I forget which.
So does that have to be under permitted uses, special uses? That the use by HUD?
I don't know, what you're suggesting is that be changed. So tell me what you're suggesting.
I'm just wondering, right now, existing, it's not just senior housing. You know,
Yes.
yeah, so it can be medical or whatever and senior housing, but there's no mention of section 8 or whatever it is.
Yeah, let me look into that. So that's Chestnut Ridge. Right. Disabled people, okay.
Okay. So we're taking out medical center.
You-
I'm sorry, I hate being a pain, but I still don't like the name of this zone. Because we're taking out medical center, but the B4 is a designated medical center, medical and healthcare facility.
Are we taking out medical?
I didn't think we were taking out medical.
Under the, I just lost it because my screen just went tiny. Okay. Let me
No,
just-
permitted uses, we have hospital or sanitarium,
Yeah,
nursing home, health-related facility.
And then there
and the
was,
medical center is crossed out.
Well, it's a medical center.
yeah,
I mean, you can have health-related facility, not medical center.
Yeah, okay, good. We'll take that out.
Do you feel better now, Fran?
Yeah, a little bit. I'll give in, I give up.
I think it's covered what you want. Medical.
Okay, so we want to see if we're going to add something else besides senior citizen housing. Minimum requirements. Lot area 3 acres. That's the whole Chestnut Ridge, Marie? 3 acres?
I don't know, I'd have to look it up. But if someone wanted
Seems
to
bigger.
create a new B4,
Okay,
they would need
Gotcha.
3 acres.
okay. So we're replacing 60,000 square feet with 3 acres. We say an acre is 40, how much was an acre, Steve? 43?
43,000.
3,000 square.
Okay, so 3 acres is like 120. That's good.
So what happened here is in the original code, 134-15 had under D a bunch of minimum requirements. And then in 134-16, there were additional requirements stated for B4, and they were in conflict with one another. So the 60,000 was what was originally in 134-15, which was done in 1978. And then 134-16 had sorry, let me back up. The original minimum requirement was done in 1976. And then the village code was amended in 1978, as shown here with local law number 1-1978. And it changed the minimum requirements from 60,000 square feet to 3 acres. So what I did was I merged the minimum requirements from 1976 and the minimum requirements from 1978 and used the minimum requirements from 1978. That's why you see these all changing so much.
Okay. So we're okay with 3 acres, everybody, instead of 60,000?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Maria, the amended in 1978 belongs to the 3 acres section?
Yes,
Okay. Lot area per dwelling, 2,300 square feet.
yes, that was not in the original 1976 code.
Okay.
That's why it's added as opposed to amended.
Lot width, it was 200, went to 80.
Yep,
We're good. Lot depth from 200 to 100. Okay.
And why are we making these, so that's fairly drastic, cutting it in half?
yeah.
Why?
What happened, there was, and I will say that it was an error in the code. In 1976 was when the original B4 specs or regs were added to the code. Then in 1978, there were changes to the code, but not in this section. They were in 134-16, and they amended the original specification for the B4 district. So what I did was I merged the 1976 and 1978 regs in the code and brought them all into one place here.
So we're good.
Yeah, these were not I should say these were not code update committee changes. These were a problem in the code.
Okay. So I'm just going to continue down unless anybody sees something you don't like. Front yard, 25 feet. That almost seems large for a front yard on a small property. Well, it's not that small. Okay.
It's 3 acres.
Okay. Safe. Side and rear. All right. Okay.
On
Off-street
9, you might have to
parking.
leave that till we kind of get that squared away, I think. No,
I'm sorry.
Where are you?
number 9, livable floor area. I think that was one of the terms we need to
Yes.
hash out a bit. So leave that marked or something on 9,
All right.
Fred.
Okay, let me go back. Yeah. Hang on for 1 second. This.
I'm looking at number 10. So for each dwelling that's there at Chestnut Ridge, for each door there needs to be 200 square feet of parking, of off-street parking. That just seems like a lot to me.
That was what was specified in the 1978 law. And
How old is Chestnut Ridge?
it had to be 1976 or earlier. Fran, can you put closing? I'm missing closing brackets on all of these.
Lynn, on the parking, just one parking space is probably 16 by 8, which is 128 square feet.
Yeah, okay.
So although it seems a lot,
It's really not.
I think of it as far as farmers markets tents, which are 100 square feet each, usually. They're 10 by 10. That's how I picture it. So.
right. So this would be this is less than 2 parking spaces, actually, I think. Because I'm pretty sure there's 16 by 8, maybe there's 16 by 7, but that'd be less than 200.
Yeah, and then you need the spaces in between cars, so
It's true.
it's not unreasonable. Thank you, Fran.
You're welcome. Okay, so the off-street parking we're okay with.
Can you add a closing bracket there
Sure.
in 10 and 11?
And I lost it. Where'd I go?
Marie, for number 10, can we find out what 2 parking spaces? Is that what we're trying to get there? Or is that supposed to be just 1 space? Can we?
Let me, I think I can look into that, Dave.
Okay. Whatever
So,
kind of makes sense there. 200 seems random. Thank you.
yeah,
Well, that would be enough for 2 parking spots for each door, right?
Well, if it's 16 by 8, wouldn't be enough.
right.
No.
Got a number here, standard parking space, 180 square feet,
For one.
according to the internet's.
Internet.
The internet, yeah. So 200 is not, that's a little extra room for
Yeah.
people that with
If you want just one parking spot, I guess.
poor
that's-
eyesight and stuff like that, might help. When you
It
get
does.
older, you don't see quite as well. You might need those extra 20 square feet
I get it.
parking.
You'll get there, Steve.
I hope so.
So if we have one unit, one parking lot, everyone's fine with that. That's all. I guess that's the question. 200 seems fine for one parking. If we want to go to 2, then we should bump that number up a little.
To 360. 2 spots is 360.
Yeah, but this is per
Yeah.
dwelling, this is per dwelling unit, so it wouldn't go to 360.
But like, then you have stuff like, was it Forge Gate where, they're always looking for extra
Yeah, they got-
space because families have more than one car now.
Actually, Forge Gate isn't bad. It's Springbrook that has the problem.
Springbrook, okay.
So I guess the question is, do we think these dwelling units will have, people will have 2 cars? And if we do, then we should bring the 200 square feet up to what 2 parking spaces?
Right.
Oh.
So my observation of the residents of Chestnut Ridge is if they are able-bodied, they might have a car. If they are not able-bodied, they typically don't have a car, but their caregiver has a car, or their caregivers each have a car. But there's typically only one caregiver in the unit at any one time, other than the shift turnover. And if you've gone past Chestnut Ridge, you can see that the parking lots are mostly empty.
I wonder how many parking lot spaces they have per unit. I mean, they could be almost empty, but maybe they've got enough for 3 anyway.
Still, it seems like if mostly people residing there are retired or whatever, that
Right.
1 parking space is enough per dwelling.
Most of the people that live there have limited incomes,
Yeah.
significantly limited incomes. A car it's a luxury.
Except for Teddy Lyons, he had a number of cars.
He did.
And motorcycles and good stuff like that.
All right, we'll leave it at 200, it's fine. I just wanted to make some sense of it. Sorry.
Okay. So we're fine with that. All right, maximum permitted building height. 2.5 stories or 35 feet. Maximum length of the building, length of a building,
Yes,
180 feet.
right.
That's an interesting.
Can you put a bracket after 1978?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was from the 1978.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, percentage of lot coverage, 25%. No, why 25%, not 35 like the rest of the village?
I can only tell you that that's what the original code had, 25%.
And these lots are, oh, sorry, I gotta go back for a second. What's the size of these lots?
Now it's 3 acres.
3 acres in the max, okay.
I would leave 25.
At least 25, okay. All right.
Might
Well,
I Might I suggest we're at 8:29 p.m. and we call it a night?
Works for me.
Time flies.
Can we just finish down F1 and then we'll start at G? Or F,
Okay.
Makes
just
sense.
finish F up.
Sure. Okay, then we'll start. Supplementary regulations applying. Entrances and exit driveways shall be identified.
Yes.
We've done that change before, so that's fine.
Yep. all permitted uses and all storage accessory thereto, other than off-street parking shall be carried on in buildings fully enclosed. All loading and unloading shall be off the street and on the property. Okay,
Fine.
according to the planning board, no part or portion of any use permitted therein shall be within 50 feet of any street or lot line. The requirements of 134-17 are applicable in this district. Okay, so we're gonna start on G. We're
Yeah.
gonna start at page 43. Compose some of my notes. We're good?
We're good.
Great.
Great.
Okay, next meeting.
What's next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday is the Chazen report.
Well, we can try to squeeze, if we can squeeze something in, we will.
Okay, we'll give that a try.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll have some time. Okay,
You
6:30.
Want to take a look at 71, and most of the changes that I've made have been at John's request, and I actually forwarded to everyone John's email with all his notes and the attachments.
Got that?
Okay.
So we can take a look at that. Maybe we can plow
I
through
think the Village of Cornwall and what's the other one?
Huntington.
Huntington. So if you get a chance, take a look at those, because there some parts are interesting and helpful.
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Good night, all.
Everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Night, Michael.
Night, everybody.
Hey, Michael.